listen to the statement from the dog. Mandela had spoken for 5 hours. The impact he had on the court was profound. Albertina recalls it as one of the most moving experiences in our lives. Comrade, I quote her, outside it was a cloudy day with a fine drizzle coming down. It was dark inside the courtroom and completely quiet. I could not take my eyes off Nelson standing there. Walter was standing next to him. After an hour, Walter passed him a glass of water. He went on, describing our history and our struggle. By the time he had reached the end of his address, we were moved beyond words. And the women were all in tears. When he said, "I am prepared to die," I did not realize that tears were pouring down my face. Close quote. When Mandela stopped speaking, there was complete silence for half a minute or more. His audience had just heard one of history's great political speeches. Thank you.
Thank you. That wraps up the segment on reflections, but once again, we appreciate the families for coming through and those who could also not make it. We see the amazing work that they do to continue the legacies of those who have now left us but fought for our freedom, and I will now be handing over to Mr. Bolton to continue the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, okay. I would ask you just to bear with us. We will finish well before 2. On the 13th of June, when these prisoners landed on Robben Island, they were met with the apartheid laws in prison itself. So Kathrada gets there, is given long trousers and shoes. All of the African prisoners, shorts and sandals. And that's because this discriminatory laws applied even in prison, even for people who were sentenced in the same trial for the same cause. The same with food. More sugar, more meat. And Kathrada gets bread, a quarter loaf of bread for the first 10 years or so. African Mandela, Sisulu and others, no bread. One of the things that Kathrada grapples with, does he accept the long trousers? Does he accept the shoes? And he grapples with this. And Mandela says to him, live with it, because we must strive for equality at a higher level. If you give up the long trousers and the shoes, we have no argument to make about why we should get it. And I think in that, Justice Colopin has spoken about equality. But I think we must be clear about the kind of equality that we're striving for. Is it that all of our roads should be filled with potholes? Or that we should all have the best quality of roads possible? Because you can have equality at different levels, and we need to be sure what kind of equality we are striving for. Two last things to do. Some of our young people have prepared a short skit on the testimony of the cross-examination of Ahmed Kathrada, and they will take about 10 minutes of your time. And thereafter we want Uncle Kathy's voice to flow through this hall before we take you down to the sections below. So, Daoud, Jacques, and I'm not sure who the rest of the team is. So who's wearing the judge's robe? And thanks for making this robe available as well.
Dawood, he's coming from the back. They're opening for him here. You can't access it from here.
While we wait, Justice Colopin, one of the things they didn't speak about, and I found out only when I read the book on Dimitris Tsifendas, how you were one of the few people who thought that describing him as having mental problems was inaccurate, when in fact he was a freedom fighter. And that he was not released after 1994 was something that you write was just not, you could never understand. And I appreciate you highlighting Dimitri's work as well in that book and elsewhere. So, where is our judge now? He's roaming.
He's just waiting for robe is coming.
Can our judge please come out? Maybe while we wait for him to come, but we can't do it because all of them are involved here. Now you know what it's like in these beauty pageants, and you have to change very quickly and get into your gown. The red belt. Beltless is fine.
You may be seated.
An MK member who had turned state's evidence, testified that he saw Kathrada at Rivonia when he went to discuss matters with members of the High Command. It was true that they had seen each other there, but Kathrada had taken no part in the discussion. The state tried to show otherwise.
Supposing you were present when you spoke to Slovo about MK, you wouldn't tell us about it?
Good morning. Today we will hear the matter between the state versus Ahmed Mohammed Kathrada, accused number 5 and 10 others. Evidence will be led by Mr. Percy Utah. Counsel, you may proceed.
Okay. Supposing you were present when Slovo spoke to Mutembo about MK, would you tell us about it?
I assure you, I wouldn't do what Mutembo has done.
Abel Mutembo has come over here and taken the oath to tell the truth and the whole truth.
That's what I saw him do.
And you're not prepared to do what he did?
I wouldn't divulge matters that took place in confidence.
We regard him as a traitor?
I do.
And what do you do with traitor?
My lord, I want to repeat that I want to repeat what Mr. Sisulu said, that if and when the time comes, I hope they will be tried and dealt with.
By who?
By the machinery set up, when the people of this country,
The provisionally revolutionary government.
when you can call it that,
Were there any traitors among your own people, the Indian people?
I suppose there are. There are traitors among all people. Indians, Jews, South Africans, Afrikaners, there are a lot.
And what we're going to do with traitors? Let's deal just with your people, the Indian people.
My Lord, when it comes to traitors, they are traitors. Whatever color they are traitors. I hope they will all be dealt with similarly.
By the way, your oath was to tell the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I'm aware of that.
But when it comes to giving evidence, which might implicate somebody either in this court or outside this court, then you're not prepared to give that evidence.
I'm honor bound not to.
Honor bound to whom?
To my conscience, to my political colleagues, to my political organizations, to which I owe loyalty.
You're not honor bound to that, are you?
I am not telling lies.
And the political colleagues include the communists.
Naturally,
And you're not prepared to give any evidence which might implicate any members of the Communist Party or the party.
I am aware that I have implicated myself to a great extent by admitting that I was a member of the Communist Party. I am not prepared to implicate anybody else.
And this political organization to which you owe disloyal to includes the African National Congress
Yes.
and also includes MK.
If I knew anything about MK, I would not tell you.
Then how am I to attest your story, what you're telling us?
I feel very sorry for you, doctor, but I'm unable to help you there.
I don't need your sympathy, Katrada. How is His Lordship to test the accuracy of your evidence?
I'm afraid, my lord, I have no suggestions.
I leave that to His Lordship. And you know what strikes me as very particular? You say you owe loyalty to the Communist Party. It's an anti-religious party, is it not?
I don't know it as being such.
So you are loyal to the Communist Party, which is anti-religious and doesn't require you to take the oath of allegiance.
I've never been asked to forsake my religion or my beliefs. Throughout the years in which I was a member of the Communist Party, I know of nobody who has been asked to forsake their beliefs.
Were you told by the Communist Party leadership that you are not to implicate anyone?
Nobody has to tell me that. That is basic. It is common to everybody who is fighting for freedom.
Why did you not play not only white, but play Portuguese? Weren't you ashamed to play the part of a Portuguese, even a Portuguese named Pedro Pereira?
I was ashamed to have to be placed in a position of playing white altogether in my own country.
Did the African National Congress speak on behalf of 12 million non-whites?
They certainly do.
Although its membership at its highest, even that is to be accepted, is 120,000.
If you knew the conditions under which these organizations have to function, 120,000 is a very high membership.
We are going to make a submission to His Lordship and we're going to support it with evidence, documents and other words that you are nothing else but a communist agitator.
That's your opinion. I don't know what you mean by a communist agitator.
That are you a member of a communist party and that your job is to agitate people to make them believe that they are oppressed and trying to insult them?
My lord, I thought we had solved this problem already. We don't have to make any non-Europeans believe they are oppressed.
Your organization, the South African Indian Congress, was one of the allies of the ANC.
That's right, and the Communist Party.
Because you belong to 39 organizations, didn't you?
My lord, I did not. That is one of the physical things about these banning orders. I was banned from the majority of organizations which I did not even belong to, some of which I was opposed to.
And you hope to achieve that freedom in our lifetime, in your lifetime?
Certainly, even in your lifetime.
By the way, have you been to India?
No, I have not been.
Do you know about the suffering of the people of India?
I know of the suffering of the people of this country where I was born.
You have never been there and you've never been done any research.
I've read about India.
And don't people suffer there?
As a result of years
and years of British oppression, people do suffer in India. Do you know George Naika?
George Naika, I know. I don't know him to have held any position in the South African Indian Congress.
And he is a core religionist of yours?
Core religionist?
Oh yes, but an Indian.
He's a Hindu. I'm a Muslim.
Billy Naya.
I know Mr. Billy Naya.
Also an Indian?
Also an Indian.
Yes, and
a human being?
If you're trying to be smart with me, I'm prepared to take it.
I don't know why you keep on saying core religionist and Indian.
Look, there's a lot of woodwork inside. What would have been the effect of bomb exploding in such a building? The possibility of loss of life? People working in building?
It all depends on when it explodes, I suppose.
An innocent man posting a letter over there. An innocent child may be. Even young Indian girl or little Indian child.
I don't know why the Indian comes into it.
I said maybe.
Maybe. It may be a Jewish child too.
By the way, do you know of any similar provision in any other countries in the world for detention without trial?
Remind me, and I might be able to confirm it. Or I don't.
Katrada, do you know that India has a 3 detention, no law trial?